are going to get started with our last session that is happening before lunch. And so it is my pleasure to introduce Constantine Peter Metcalfe, who is going to be presenting on the Andrew Luther Legacy Project. He is one of the members of our Sharing Our Knowledge organizing committee as well. And so a couple things just to mention that I'm going to close that door, and so if you are coming in and out, if you could just please make sure that when you go in or out that it closes quietly, because it has a little bit of noise to it when you close it. So, but without further ado, Peter Metcalfe, Constantine H.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank my fellow planning committee members for putting in all the hard work it took for us all to get here. My Tlingit name is Kashaheen Ish, but the family that adopted me knows me as Bushgaa. And anybody familiar with Tlingit would realize that Bushgaa is not a Tlingit name. It is, in fact, so far as I can learn, a Tlingit way of pronouncing a Russian name for cannon. So, in effect, it's Pistol Pete. And that's what the family knows me, and my namesake, Peter Williams, the late Peter Williams, who was the original Kashaheen Ish. It's a name I'm quite proud of, but most fond of Bushgaa. I'm going to talk about the Legacy Project, but what you have right in front of you is part of Andy's legacy. He was my mentor and got me involved in a lot of projects, but before me was Ishmael Hope. He's Andy's most direct legacy, and I know his father was very, very proud of Ishmael. And so I've been around town just last day or so, and I must have seen that Tlingit Country poster a dozen times already, and that's another legacy of Andy's. That was a long-time project of Andy's that I helped bring into print for him. He hired me to do the publishing on that. It's now in its, I think it's 7th printing. It's all over the place, and it's a good thing because I think of it as the Rosetta Stone of Tlingit culture. By that you can pretty much figure out family lineages. Very useful. You might kind of take it for granted because it's a poster, but the closer you look at it, the more you work with it, the more you realize it's one of Andy's great legacies. So before I launch this PowerPoint, I want to emphasize a couple things about the conference. One is the boat tour. I don't think you want to miss this. It's a fundraiser for Sharing Our Knowledge, and it's courtesy of Allen Marine. They gave us a very, very good price on it. We'll make some money for this organization if we can fill this up. So please consider going out with us Sunday. Boards at 10:30, Crescent Harbor, which is right across the street at the Allen Marine loading facility. Boards at 10:30, leave at 11, return at 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Weather says it's going to be a decent day. So the other thing is my colleague, Sarah Betcher, who's a videographer, among other things, she and I will be conducting interviews throughout this conference, and Sarah's also getting what's known in the trade as B-roll, and my colleague, Larry Golden, sitting here, is a very definite definition of B-roll, and that is essentially cover footage you use if you're making a documentary. And so Sarah goes around and takes video of the venue, crowd reactions, and so on, but also in the way I'm using it in this project is it also includes the interviews. And we have 56 interviews already from 2019 and 2022. A couple of these videos you'll see, the video interviews you'll see in this produced video I'm going to show in a moment. I've been involved in Sharing Our Knowledge since the very beginning when it was called Clan Conference back in 1993, Haines Cluck wáan. I was tasked with supervising the video that was done by Dan Edelane of Sitka. Many of you know Dan. And Dan was recording on Betamax, which was kind of the best video at the time. And about I think it was 2016, he called me up and said he had a box of these videos from 1993 and sent them over to me. They sat under my desk for about 6 years. Finally got the funding through DIA to digitize them. And you're going to see the product of that in one of these videos. It's really a rich resource, the 1993 videos. We weren't able to get the whole conference. It was a mixed bag, the videos I got. But at least we digitized them and got them up on the YouTube channel. About the only person I think who's still here with me from the original conference is Sergey Khan, and he was a presenter. And you also see Sergey in one of these videos. So with that, the purpose of this project that I've been working on for about 2.5 years, and it's just something I've done as time permitted, but it's funded through a Department of Education grant to Douglas Indian Association, and they've been really, really helpful. And there's a couple other people here at this conference today who are also working on similar projects, and the idea of the grant money we got and we're working with is to create curriculum content. So any of you out there watching this, seeing what a resource we have, I want you to think about what can we do with it in a way of getting it into the classroom, whether it's college, high school, or even for elementary school. We have, as you'll see, hundreds of video presentations. It's really a rich resource, and we should make use of it. So, the Andy Hope Legacy Project.
You sit with elders, you eat with elders, they comment and correct, they translate what is being said around you for you. It is such a exchange and such an embracing context. It's unlike any conference that I think I've ever experienced before.
In the early 90s, I was invited to Haines in Wáan, and I was just newly deciding that I was going to be a part of revitalization of culture. At that moment, I wouldn't have known those words.
Elders are teaching their grandkids. Their grandkids are learning the language to hear a teenager stand up and talk in her language, and having a grandpa respond in the Tlingit language is amazing.
It was just really heartwarming to be here, and it was empowering to be here. It leaves me re-energized to continue to work for our people.
Andy Hope organized that when that was in Haines, Alaska, and that was where a lot of people came from the Yukon, from Angoon and all that way, and each and every one of them had quite a story of their background and that.
I think the nature of the conference being one that brings together Native and non-Native specialists was just super appealing because that's not so common. You know, it hasn't been historically.
I am so happy tonight to see all of you who appreciate Tlingit Shkatnigi, which is Tlingit literature. For those of you who don't know how to speak Tlingit, try to learn it so you could understand what we're talking about up here.
I believe that what's going on right now, I think, is really good in sharing of knowledge. I think the programs that are being carried out here, the young people really show a lot of interest.
Okay, so on our sharingourknowledge.org website, many of you know if you've gone there, there's photographs, conference programs, the video recorded presentations, founding documents, and the links. A few words about especially founding documents. I've been curating this site from the beginning and collecting Andy's documents, and one time through Linda Wynn, she came up and got all the newsletters I have that Andy has produced, and Andy, as he was passing away, donated to me the founding documents, or rather his files. And out of that, I organized his newsletters that he had produced over the years, and Linda Wynn came up and got them. She was working with Sea Alaska Heritage, and she scanned them, and so I got these PDFs, and then we put them up on the sharingourknowledge.org website, and you can search it. It's pretty simple, and there's some really, really good stuff. And one of the favorite sources was an interview with Judson Brown that Andy conducted, and we have on one of his newsletters. So the video recorded presentations, let's see, I'll show you the numbers in a moment, but here's what we're doing with the videos, especially for introductions to the years. We're getting Jocelyn to do, our colleague Jocelyn Estes, who's she's a highly experienced radio journalist and is, basically a national journalist, a talent at our, who is contributing her talents to this conference.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Estes. I'm one of the organizers of the 2022 Sharing Our Knowledge Conference. The theme for this conference was peace. A time of peace, a place of peace, and it was about healing from trauma, from everything from the epidemics that devastated the Tlingit people to the wars between, the bombardment of Wrangell, and just different traumatic episodes. But also we had sessions on healing, art, decolonizing justice, and Tlingit yoga. So we had a lot of fun sessions as well as educational and entertaining ones. So click on any one of the sessions. This is the first year that we had the sessions live streamed, and we recorded all of them. Click on any one of them and enjoy.
So that's the introduction to 2022. We'll have a similar introduction, which will be the first tape in the YouTube channel, or the first presentation on the YouTube channel for 2024. We'd hope, of course, to live stream, but I don't have to explain to you why we can't do that. So what my project has been for the last 2.5 years is cataloging all the videos. And let's see here. This is the front page of our website, and on the lower right, it says, click here to view the SOK catalog. And that'll take you to a document that looks like this. And this has lists over, on the public channel, it lists over 500 videos. And how do you use it? Well, this is a tutorial you'll have access to. I'm going to play it for about 2 minutes. It's a 4-minute tutorial, and I won't subject you to the usual computer struggles we all have, but this will get you familiar with how to use the Google Doc.
Searching through the Sharing Our Knowledge catalog is as easy as using these 4 different filter buttons at the top of the sheet. Now, do keep in mind, you do need to be logged into Google to be able to access these buttons. Each button corresponds with the category that's right below it. So this button right here will filter through the subject column, and then same thing with these 4 corresponding with the subject or column that's below it. We're going to use these buttons to filter the data and find exactly what we're looking for. By default, all of these buttons will be selecting everything. So as you can see, it says all. That means everything's selected. It's showing you all of the data that's within the sheet. We can break down these filters to find what we're looking for. There's a couple different ways that you can use these filter buttons to search through the information. When I click down on the topic button, for example, and I start scrolling here, I can see that it's showing me everything that's available within this column. So there's one way that you can search through the sheet. You can hit clear up here, and it's going to deselect everything. Now I can scroll through and click all the different topics that I want to find.
You can watch the whole tutorial. It'll be, I don't think we have it quite on the website. I left a couple things undone in preparation for this conference, but that'll be up on the website probably Monday if it isn't already. This is a list of the presenters through all our conferences that we have, their presentations up on the website. Now, many of them have made more than one presentation. Some have made as many as 6 or 8 presentations over the years. But this is how the names I was able to pull from our data file as to the main presenters. There's another column that says et al., which is and everyone. And that includes the names of, as many as 4 or 6 additional people who were part of a presentation. So those names are not appearing here, but we have over 600 names on this database, and it's kind of fun to search for people you might know, and you'll find all the references. And then what you need to know is that it's super easy to go to the videos, because if you find what you want, the URL is there. We're going to try to make them active. Right now they're not, but they're super simple. You just copy the whole thing, go to your browser, put it in the browser window, to find a site, and you just drop it in there, and boom, you're at that video. And the notes that are on our data sheet will guide you through on in most cases you get a time code. So you could say Andy Hope's talking about something at 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and you can just use the slider and go right there. So this project that I've been working on, well, all these projects are in memory of Andy. And this photo is, he was presenting, I think, in 2006 at the University of Alaska. And the black and white on top is during the 1993 conference. And the one at the bottom is with his late wife's sister, Ishmael's mother. And so this is a list of our planning committee. I think you know many of us. Anyway, it's a good group, 14 people who dedicate a lot of time to this conference. So I have about 5 minutes. I've allotted myself another 5 minutes. What time is it? It's 11:38, so try to get this done at 11:50, or 11:45. Just a sec. This is my database. Does anybody out there use FileMaker Pro? I didn't think so. That's why we've converted it to Google Doc. But I'm really good at this program. Unfortunately, it was developed by Macintosh in the very early days, before they were easily, before we could use Excel on Mac. And so this was the go-to data program, and I've become adept at it. And but as I say, it's not very well used. But I do want to. All this data is in the Google Doc, and let's just take Jim Simard in 2007. In one column, program ID, it'll take you to the actual program. You could go on our website, find that program, and get more description as to what was going on at that time. But the notes or the subject column has the time code, and so it'll take you right to where he's talking about digital records, for instance, at 7 minutes, 30 seconds. The comment section I make subjective remarks about the quality, like for instance, poor light, poor sound, audible but tinny, PowerPoint not embedded. So, and by PowerPoint I mean embedded or not embedded. It's, you know, if it's not embedded, we just have a camera on the screen, and it's not very good quality. But if it is embedded, then it's as good as, it'll be better than what you're seeing right now, because this is a little bit out of focus, at least to my eyes. So and also the topic is really an important category. You know, music, indigenous, naming, oral history, etc. So what I do when I'm looking for something, if I don't remember where it was, I'll go, you know, history, and I get this whole list of history topics. There's 40 or 47 of them or so. And one, which reminds me, let's see here. I didn't, somehow I skipped by the numbers. Okay, this is important. I skipped over that. There's 612 total videos now on the website. 491 are publicly accessible on the YouTube channel, and 121 B-roll cover videos are not on the public channel. So you have to ask me, and I'd provide you access. If you're working on some documentary or something, I'd give you access to the B-roll. And add these numbers to what we're doing right now for 2024. And by the time we're done with this, there'll be another 100 or so videos, probably 45 or 50 presentations from 2024. Again, it's too bad we can't be doing this as we speak, a real-time live feed, but the cable cut has made that and other things kind of difficult. So, are there any questions? I want to thank you for listening, and thank my colleagues here and Ishmael. Really appreciate the support. And by the way, I just want to mention, he's been fabulous in providing Tlingit translations for some things, and I will direct your attention to one of my favorite projects, which was 2019. Go to that video site, go to about, I think it's 44, and it's I call it the Last Testament of David Katsik. And Ishmael provided the Tlingit translations for his introduction, which was his name and family and all his relations and associated clans that he said in Tlingit. And we provide both Tlingit and English translations. And that's courtesy of Ishmael. So you want to say something?
Yeah, just to add. Peter? Good to teach, Peter. Oh, is there also?
I was just going to
sure.
say, how soon do you think that the YouTube will be up?
For 2024?
Yeah.
Within a week or so. We'll have a more definitive answer, and I'll announce that during the conference at a plenary session.
Gunachish, Peter. And I just wanted to add, with all those resources from the archives, there's, in addition to some of the stuff that I was talking about, the many talks that Nora gave, and the presentations on Lewis Shotridge, there's a lot of great stuff. If you look in 1993, there's more Tlingit language spoken, but then it's nice to see that there's pockets where it kind of pops up. But particularly in the earlier times, where there were more of those elders, but some of the highlights, and it's freely available on YouTube. So it's just Gunachish to Peter in the Clan Conference, or the Sharing Our Knowledge Conference. But some of the highlights is Matthew Fred telling Deshiton clan history, which goes from their whole migration, and then up to Angoon, and up there in Klukwan and Angoon, and then when they split off from the people in Lakanakari, split off from the Deshitan in Angoon and went to Taku. So that's direct, amazing, awesome clan history. Some of the best clan history I've heard, and just that depth of, I have an ancestors among the Deshitan. It's great to hear ancestors, the history of the ancestors. And then there's Amy Marvin, Kuteen. She tells the Glacier Bay history in the elders panel. There's Elizabeth Nyman telling Yunye D clan history. There's so much of the elders, and amazing Tlingit that they spoke. And in addition to some of that clan history in 1993, throughout the 2000s and 2010s, there were people, I was a part of some of them, that got elders together to just talk. Wuchin US Khata'at, they just talked Tlingit Khainach in Tlingit. And it was amazing to see. Sometimes we hear people say that we don't have those elders anymore, and it's understandable. We've lost so many of our speakers. It's just observing that there's great Tlingit speaking from Ethel Mackinnon, Dastaya, Marcia Hodge, Kuneoti, and thankfully we still have speakers among us today with Paul Marks, that in those panels, and then working on that Peter mentioned, I edited some of those texts. I consider it a work in progress, something to share. It has accuracy. I've done the best I could to that point. And if we want to take it up another level, it's always good to have speakers look at it, and other colleagues who can look at it. But you get to see the transcription and the translation. So just to see the high quality, Ruth Demmert, those elders speaking in the language. And in addition, all the great presentations over the many years. It's just a gift. It's such a gift to have, to be able to watch those and listen to those presentations. Gunashish.
One moment, I want to get off stage, and I was remiss in not plugging my partner and friend's production, his movie about William Paul and other leaders, The Land Is Ours. It will screen tomorrow afternoon, 2:45. Larry Golden produced. Go ahead. Thank you.
I was going to say what I really appreciate the YouTube, because every time I go to trainings for language or things about our culture, or even about equity, they always pull up Google. They'll Google Tlingit, and they show us as back in our history, like we're still in the museums. And so by doing this, you're showing that we are advancing, we are here today. And so I really appreciate that, because when we Google, now we're gonna see colorful pictures of us thriving. And so again, gonna cheers for your hard work. Khatsu.